Hi there everyone, welcome to Creative Coloring with Erum. Today we are creating an easy jewel toned floral card using watercolor brush markers. I will use the Builder Garden Happy Blossoms stamp set, and I will use the 5x7 hot pressed watercolor cardstock. I will be heat embossing the image, so I'll prep the panel with anti-static powder. Next, I will place the panel in the Stampwheel 2.0 and stamp the image with embossing ink a couple of times to ensure good coverage. If you can't see the stamp impression clearly and want to make sure there are no mist or blank spots in case the embossing powder doesn't stick properly, use a matching pigment ink to stamp the image. Here I will use silver pigment ink since I will be heat embossing it in silver. You can also stamp in pigment ink to begin with, but I don't take that risk, especially on watercolor cardstock. Now comes the fun part. To color the image, I will use the Winter Wonderland watercolor brush markers. For the flowers, I'll use Lagoon and Persian blue. And for the leaves, I'll use jet black marker. If you find coloring with watercolor brush markers difficult, apply the pigment onto the watercolor palette or any non-porous smooth surface and then pick the color from there. Use a damp paintbrush to pick up pigment and color. I'll show you both ways to color, but I would mostly be using my watercolor brush markers directly. I have my fine watercolor brushes with me, sizes 1 and 2. You can use any brush size you want, the size that you are comfortable with. My panel is dry right now. This is also your preference if you want to paint wet on wet or wet on dry. For this particular project, I will color wet on wet. And we will go outside the lines, so when we die cut the image, we don't end up with a stark white outline. I will apply water to the area, covering the flower and its outside as well. I'm using 2 brushes, one for Lagoon and the other for Persian blue, just like I would use watercolor brush markers. However, with paint brushes, I have limited pigment. I will apply Persian blue pigment to the base of the petal. As you can see, it's not as vibrant as it would be if I applied it directly from the brush marker. Much of it is also on me because I don't have much pigment on the palette. I will go back later to darken it. Then I'll apply Lagoon to the petal tips and use either diluted pigment or water to blend it. Make sure not to mix them. Just dab the brush to cover the area with color while the 2 tones are still visible. I will now move on to using watercolor brush markers as I want to go for really pigmented florals. Once you apply the pigment, you can use brush markers themselves to blend the colors slightly or add a bit of water. If you add water, it will allow your pigment to flow and dilute it a bit, giving each flower variation. So you can also use your paint brushes to blend or use your watercolor brush markers. Depends on you. If you want more pigmented flowers, you will use your watercolor brush markers. And if you want more diluted softer look, you will use paint brushes. And in the similar manner, it is up to you which pigment you want more of. You can switch the pigment placement. Apply Persian blue to petal tips for the adjacent flower and Lagoon to the base of the petals. You can keep switching these for the rest of the flowers. Remember to have fun while coloring. It is super stress-free coloring, and I love coloring images in this way. You can also go back in to add more pigment if you want to. It is your choice. The watercolor brush marker pigment is super reactive to water, so you can also remove some of the pigment once it dries. It will be great to add a splatter effect to the petals if you aren't doing too much to your project. For this, once you have colored the image, add splatters of water and then blot it with a tissue. You will see how lovely the result looks. Remember, you are free to go outside the lines, so don't worry about perfection here. This watercoloring is far from being perfect, but it looks amazing. I just want to show you the coloring up close. And you can see there is no rhyme or rhythm to it, but once I'm done, this will look gorgeous. For the leaves, apply water to the area and drop in pigment to the base of the leaves. Use a paintbrush to pull the pigment out by lightly dabbing it. Make sure the leaf tips are light. I will go back in to add a bit more concentrated pigment and let it flow on its own. The coloring process is same as the flowers, but it looks a little different here because you have veins on the leaves. Once dry, I will use the coordinating die to cut the image. I will use industrial diamond cardstock for the background, but I want to add more texture to the panel. You can stop here if you are more of a clean and simple card maker. I have die cut 5 circles using the nesting circles die set in sizes 2, 3, 4, 7, and 10. What I plan to do is tuck these behind the image. For this, I will use the Textured Blocks 3D embossing folder and place the circle die cuts into each of the blocks to add different texture to each circle. And you can see how beautiful the texture on each die cut circle looks. Isn't it wonderful? Next, I will use the Jet Black Fresh Dye ink and add ink to the circular die cuts. At first, I applied it just to the edges of the circle die cuts, but then I added a little bit more because they were not as visible on the gray cardstock panel. I also added a bit of inking to the background, very lightly all around the edges. After this, I adhered the panel to a card base. Then I popped up the 2 larger circles with instant dimension foam tape and adhered the rest directly to the panel. I adhered the image with instant dimension foam tape as well. Then I used sterling silver watercolor from the metallic watercolor 14 pan set to add lots of splatter. And this is where I went a bit overboard. To finish, I heat embossed a sentiment and added some smoky quartz gem sparkles. And that's it. Thank you so much for coloring along with me. I hope you enjoyed this relaxed watercolor technique and feel inspired to give it a try. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.
Wait, we have more where that came from. If you're after fabulous card making tutorials, you are definitely in the right spot. Our amazing design team create and upload fabulous video tutorials right to this YouTube channel. If you don't want to miss another amazing crafting tutorial, don't forget to subscribe and click that fun red button that you can see. Let's become paper crafting experts together.